Basically, I'm caught up in quite a situation with my mother-in-law, and I'm very confused about whether I should feel bad about this or not. My mother-in-law, Nina, 52, has always been a bit of a busybody, but that never bothered me because she used to be very nice to me. I have been with my husband for the past 6 years, and I've been married for 3. Recently, about a month ago, I, 27, also gave birth to our daughter. My husband is in the Air Force, so he left shortly after our daughter was born and won't be back for a good few months. I was upset that he had to go away so soon and had only spent the last couple of weeks of my pregnancy with me. But when duty calls, I wouldn't want to stop him. And he left Nina with me, so I thought I was in good hands. Before he went away, Nina and I had a discussion, and we decided that Nina would stay back with me to help me out instead of going back home. I was quite happy about it because I thought that I could really do this kind of help. Since I don't really know many people around here since after I moved here, I got pregnant within a few weeks. So I didn't have the chance to socialize and don't have a lot of friends that I can rely on. But after my husband left, things started to take an unexpected turn. And unfortunately, Nina seemed to be quite the freeloader. For the first few days, I was so busy I barely realized it. Then I started to notice that it was me who was doing most of the work around the house as well as taking care of the baby. Nina would only gossip on the phone in the guest room and come out at mealtimes, compliment me about how well I cooked, and then go back inside. When we had our discussion, my husband and I had thought that she would help me out since she was leaving. I had to do almost twice the work that I would have usually had to because she refused to do anything. After 2 weeks of her living with me, I confronted her about her behavior, and she told me that she had been waiting for me to tell her exactly what to do and what I needed help with, which I thought was a really stupid thing to say because she had eyes. She could see that I needed help in certain things, but she wouldn't know what to do unless she came out of her room once in a while. Anyway, I excused it as a genuine mistake, and then I started to talk about things that needed to be done around the house. Even then, she wasn't much help. Either she would do the task much later than I had asked her to. Occasionally, I would even have to do it myself because she procrastinated so much, or she would just tell me that she forgot about it, and it was getting really frustrating. So towards the end of the month, I told her that this arrangement was not working, and I wanted her to leave because if I was on my own, at least I would have to do all the work, and I wouldn't have to do twice the amount of work since I was just one person. Anyway, I was having to do everything myself now as well, so I might as well live on my own too. She wasn't happy about it and started telling me that I was being ungrateful. I should just be glad that she had even offered to help me out. And then she finally told me that she had actually expected that she would get to help out with the baby and I would do all the household tasks. I don't know why she expected that, because I'm the mother who carried around this baby for 9 months and went through labor. So now I should be the one to get to spend the most time with her. If she genuinely wanted to help me, she would have taken over the household chores. I would have been able to take care of my baby. So after I told her to leave, she said that she had nowhere to go because she had already ended the lease agreement on her previous apartment, since she had assumed that she would be living with me for quite a long time. That really confirmed that she genuinely was a freeloader. She just didn't want to pay rent. And that's why she had moved in with me and claimed that she was going to be helping me. I was really pissed off when I found out, and I said that I couldn't care less about her situation. I just wanted her out of my house. So finally, she left a couple of days ago. I made a phone call to my parents that day after she left to ask them to come over and help me out. My parents live in a different state, so they had only been there for the birth and had stayed back for and they took the next flight here, and they've been living with me since then. Nothing to worry about in the store either. My uncle is handling everything on his own for a while. Anyway, it has been almost 4 days since I kicked out my mother-in-law. And I spoke to my husband about it as well and told him that Nina was being absolutely useless by living here. I hadn't told him about it while she was still here because I didn't want to stress him out, since he was relying on his mother to help me with the household chores. He told me that I did the right thing, and that was it. Last evening, I got a bunch of text messages from Nina saying that I had ruined her life and stuff, and I was very confused. So I called my husband, and he told me that apparently he had spoken to the rest of the family and got them to cut her off entirely. And now she really had nowhere to go because she had been living with his uncle so far. But even he had asked her to leave, and that's why she was so mad at her. Apparently, she had tried to screw up our relationship by telling my husband what I used to get up to behind his back when I was at the house by myself. Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. And she said really nasty things about me to my husband. Apparently I was having an affair with the next door neighbor behind his back, and suggested that he got a paternity test done and come back as soon as possible because she wasn't entirely sure that the baby was his. He also said that that's the real reason she had chosen to leave, and whatever I had told him about why she had been kicked out had been all lies. She had just found out about the affair because she had seen the two of us together, and that's why I had made her leave, because I was afraid that she would expose me and then he would leave me. These are really horrible lies that she was peddling about me to create problems between my husband and me. But thankfully, he was better than that. Instantly chose not to believe her. I'm really happy that he didn't even need to speak to me and confront me about this in order to know that this was not true. It was also pretty much common sense because our next door neighbor is an extremely annoying guy in his early 20s who inherited the house from his aunt or something and spent the entire weekend playing the violin very badly. And when I first moved in, I had complained about this to my husband several times because he was just so bad at it. So if she really knew me, she would have picked some other guy to pair me up with. Anyway, after Nina told him these lies on the phone, he decided to call up everyone in the family and told them about the entire situation, and said that he did not want anybody interacting with Nina from this point onwards. And if they did, we would never speak to them again. So he basically gave his family an ultimatum, and it worked. Because now, nobody is speaking to Nina, and even her own brother has kicked her out of the house. So after my husband and I had this discussion last night, I thought it was a punishment well deserved, and I blocked her so that she wouldn't be able to text me and try to make me feel guilty because none of this was my fault. But in her texts, she had been accusing me of ruining her life. This morning, when I woke up, she was at my door and started demanding that I let her in and allow her to live with me because I was the reason she had even lost her home in the first place. And now she needed a place to crash for a couple of days before she started looking for other apartments in the vicinity. I was really confused as to why she would need to find a house nearby. And then she explained that she was going to visit on the weekends, regardless of our personal equation, because she wanted to be able to see her granddaughter whenever she wished to. I thought it was really bold of her to make a demand like that, and I told her straight to her face that after what she had done, she would not be able to meet her son when he came back. So she needed to turn around and leave before I called the cops. But she refused and started throwing a temper tantrum like a child, stomping her foot and screaming at me that it was extremely unfair because she was already pretty old, and yet my husband and I had been stupid enough to expect her to stay with her and do all the menial chores of the household rather than play with the baby. I don't even know why she expected that in the first place when we had been discussing this. We had been been very clear that we were going to split the chores between the two of us with her taking on the more difficult, time-consuming tasks, and I was going to be the one taking care of the baby. Things had always been very clear, and she was the one who had decided not to care about what we had agreed upon and make her own assumptions, and then even ended the lease without speaking to either of us. I don't understand how any of this is our fault, and for the record, 52 is really not that old, and if she really felt that old and weary, then she shouldn't have offered to help me at all. Anyway, things got pretty heated and our argument got really nasty after a while because she was being so annoying. She started trying to force her way in with her bags inside my house, and I had to slap the door shut after long effort because she was bent on living with me. Because she thought that I owed this to her for some reason. I mean, she was the one who tried to ruin my relationship with my husband while I was trying to take care of our 1-month-old baby. But I guess maybe I really do owe this to her somehow. Anyway, the reason that I'm making this point is that after I shut the door, she started crying and started saying that she had nowhere else to go and she really didn't want to waste a bunch of money on hotel rooms. So she was really pleading with me to let her in, begging me to forgive her because she really needed somebody to be there for her. I almost broke because I have just given birth a couple of weeks back and I'm still not over the emotional, hormonal stage yet. So I was about to give in. Then my parents told me not to and said that this woman had already tried to ruin my relationship with my husband once and I shouldn't allow her back into my life again. So we decided to ignore her until she left. And now I feel kind of bad about what happened because I don't know. I just think that maybe I could have let her stay with me for a couple of days until she had found another place to go. My husband and my parents have been telling me that I did not do anything wrong, but I'm still not sure. So what do you guys think? AITA for not allowing my mother-in-law to move in with me after she was cut off by the rest of the family because of our fight? So my father-in-law is not in the picture. He passed away a couple of years back, and since then it has been my husband funding his mother's lifestyle. Her husband didn't really leave her much money because he passed away after a really long illness. So most of his money went into his health care, but he did leave her the house that they used to live in, which she then sold and used that money to move into a small apartment. But she ended the lease agreement on that as well. My husband has been sending money to his mother every month, and so far she's been living a nice lifestyle. But now that he has decided to cut her off, I don't think he's going to be sending her money either. So now I just hope that she has saved up enough of whatever she received after selling the house and can afford to live on her own, because otherwise she will be in big trouble, at least financially. Update 1. Hi guys, so things have been pretty quiet so far. I haven't heard from Nina since she left the other day. It had been 3 whole days and I had started to believe that maybe she had learned her lesson and was going to stay away from Nina. But it really was too good to be true, since she had been crying really hard and she didn't seem like the kind of person who is going to give up so easy. And like I said at the beginning of my original post, she always has been so she has managed to get some people from my husband's family on her side as well. And now they have started bothering me. It's mostly been people around her age from music that every word that she says is true. It's essentially just a couple of women from my husband's family who sit with her and gossip about everybody at every family gathering. So I'm not surprised that they are taking her side this time. I'm pretty sure that they don't even believe her side of the story, but they just want to be involved in the drama somehow, which is why they're taking it out on me and playing an active role here so that they will be talked about rather than being the people who are talking. They started texting me relentlessly from various numbers, and I had to block all of them because they were being so nasty. They accused me of actually having had an affair with my neighbor and discovered the truth about me, and now I was trying to manipulate my husband into not believing in his own mother. And I had even managed to get her ostracized from the family. But this wouldn't last for long because I won't be able to hide the truth forever. I don't really mind the fact that they are trying to mess with me, but the fact that they are casting aspersions on my strength of character doesn't sit right with me. I have talked to my husband about this, and he has told me that he's going to try and do something about it. But I know that he can't. He has done whatever he could do and told his family not to speak to Nina. This is beyond his control, since these women have made it very clear where they stand. And it's by Nina's side. And I will just have to ignore them eventually. It's just that I'm so emotional right now that everything is getting under my skin and I really hate it. But I can't help it. My parents are there for me right now, and my husband has told me that he will try to visit as soon as possible. But until then, I just have to keep ignoring these people and not let these things get to me because I know my truth and I know who I am as a person. So I'm just trying to do that and keep my head cool. Update 2. I just realized that something strange has been happening. So it has been 1 week since my last update. And for the last 4 days, I have not received any texts or whatever from Nina and her cronies. So I really think that they might have given up on trying to bother me and get under my skin as of now. The last couple of texts that I received from her and her friends were on social media. They were telling me that they were going to make sure that the truth came out, and had even said that they were going to speak to my neighbors and make sure that he revealed what an awful person I was and how long the affair had been going on. In their heads, they were fully convinced that this was a real thing. God bless their delusional hearts. I really did not feel very threatened by any of that because I knew the truth. And after speaking to my husband and him telling me that I didn't need to worry about any of this, he believed me wholeheartedly, and nothing would ever change that. I knew that I had no cause to worry either. My husband had also spoken to the rest of his family, and they had reached out to tell me that they had also cut ties with the women who were taking Nina's side. They were with me wholeheartedly, and I was really feeling good about all of this. After I got to know that Nina and her so-called friends had also been cut off by the family, they stopped texting me, and I guess it's probably because they have realized that nothing good is going to come out of this, and the drama really wasn't worth it. So the very last text message that I received from any of these people was 4 days back, and in the evening I received an email, probably from Nina, and it was a really short one. She told me that she had managed to find an apartment and she was going to make sure that I suffered the consequences of trying to ruin her life and making her family hate her for no fault of her own. She called me a lazy cow and said that she had no idea why her son was choosing somebody disgusting and ugly over his mother. But she was sure that it would not last long and said that she had already started looking for new people to replace me since now my only duty to my husband was done and he could move on to better pastures. So she really believed that just because I had given birth to a baby and had gained some weight in the process, my husband was going to leave me. I have to say all this was pretty on the edge because before this, I was apparently the cheater, and now she's going to make sure that my husband cheats on me. It's just confusing. Anyway, I blocked that email address, and after that, I did not hear from her. I found it a bit confusing for a couple of days, but then, now I feel much better now. I don't have to worry about her bothering me. Update 3. I guess I spoke too soon because just 2 days ago, I had been talking about how I believed that Nina and her friends had finally decided to leave me alone, and today, all of them turned up at my place and tried to bully me. But things did not end well for them. So a couple of hours back, I heard the doorbell ring several times, and when I went to check who it was, I saw that Nina and all her friends were standing outside the door. It was a group of about 6 women, and they looked like they were here for business. So I instantly spoke to them through the intercom and told them rocks through the window. I had to go and hide behind the couch because I was scared for my life. And I really didn't want to get hurt in the process. We have relatively small decorative rocks that they were picking up from the garden bed. So there were a lot of them that they could throw, and so I couldn't even get back to my room so I could get my phone, because any movement while they were throwing rocks at the windows could lead me to get injured. And even when my parents showed up to check out what was going on, I had to tell them to leave and go to the nursery and make sure that my daughter was fine, because that's all that I really cared about. This went on for almost 2 whole minutes, and by the end of it, my living room floor was completely strewn with some glass and rocks. I didn't even have the courage to walk across the floor and go to my room because I was wearing just socks. And there was no way I could get to my room without having to walk, so I just stayed behind the couch and was literally crying because I was so scared. And then things went from bad to worse. I thought that they would leave after they had completely demolished my living room windows and made it absolutely impossible for me to leave before the cops. But then they started banging against the door. I guess they would try to kick down the door, but thankfully they aren't strong enough for that. While they were trying to do that, the cops finally showed up because I guess my parents had called them. I left my parents to deal with everything because when the cops found me, I was still cowering behind the couch and I was honestly very traumatized from everything that was happening. The cops had to literally carry me to my room and I kept crying even then. Eventually, I just fell asleep while crying. When I woke up, Nina and her friends were all gone, and my parents had somehow managed to clean up all the glass and rocks that had been thrown in, but we couldn't be in the living room for long because the windows had been open. And until then, the cold wind from outside would be entering the room and nothing to stop it. After I woke up, they told me that they were the ones who had put me to sleep and I didn't remember it. But my mother had sat beside me while my dad dealt with the cops and charges against me and the gang who had harassed us. They also told me that my daughter had woken up and had been crying because of the noise and rocks being thrown at the windows and crashing and stuff. But after I fell asleep, even she did, and the last couple of hours after I woke up, I have been spending every single second with her. And I haven't even let her out of my sight for even 1 second. My dad told me that he was going to have everything repaired and the living room would be back in use in a couple of days, so I didn't need to worry about that. And he had also spoken to my husband, and he was coming back this weekend itself so that he would be there for me. I'm so grateful that my parents were here with me throughout this ordeal because I can't imagine having to deal with all of this alone. I just really can't. Today has been an incredibly scary day, and I spoke to my husband just now. He was very concerned about me, and he told me that he has spoken to a lawyer, and he's going to get it arranged for us to file a restraining order against Nina and her cronies. Of course, it's unlikely we will have to see them again because they will probably never be invited to any family event ever again, and might even end up behind bars for a couple of months. I really hope that it's true because I don't even want to see these people again. I don't know what they were thinking or hoping to accomplish with the stuff that they pulled off today, but it's clear to me that they are psychotic and unhinged. And I just never want to run into them ever again. Update 4. Hello, I'm back here again. It's been several weeks and this update is fucking normal. I got really busy with taking care of my baby, and I also had to go back to work. I'm working from home, but it still keeps me very busy. But there have been a considerable number of changes since my last update. First of all, my husband quit his job and decided to move back in with us on a more permanent basis because he said that he didn't want to lose out on spending time with his baby girl when she was so little. So he's going to try and build something of his own. That's going to take a lot of work. For now, he's just enjoying being a stay-at-home dad, and I couldn't be happier for him. I make enough for both of us, so I'm not worried. My parents have also said that they'll help us out if we need it, until he's able to get back on his feet, and even going to invest in it whenever he decides have savings to rely on, so money-wise, we're doing pretty well. My parents finally went back home, finally, a couple of weeks ago, but we have stayed in touch. We video call almost every day because they really miss their granddaughter, and I can understand. And now, what happened to Nina and her friends who had messed me up really good the last time that I did not. So, all of them are serving time in prison and will be there for the next 3 months. They were charged for their criminal activities and ended up with a 3-month sentence, huge fine, and community service once they got out of jail. Obviously, they had to also pay damages for my windows, and I was able to get a restraining order against all of them as well. Thankfully, it seems very unlikely that after this we will ever have to see them again, and I'm really grateful for it. Now, it's just going to